Guys, for years I've told you I'm not a big fan of integrals. They're just not a thing I'm into. There's some issues with them, but I found one that I really do love a lot, which is out of character for me, and it's under $200 at the moment, and I'll tell you how you can get it at that price. So let's turn this around and take a look at the Terramundi Knives Ray. So like I said in the intro, guys, you guys know integrals typically are not my thing. I really dig this one, though. This is the Dylan Mallory design Ray. Now, this is done by Terramundi Knives, which is a division of Beyond EDC. And as you guys know, that means that right now you can save 40% with my discount code. So it's 40% off site-wide. So that puts this knife right at $192 with that discount. I'm going to tell you right now, you cannot beat that price for a titanium M390 integral. So let's take a quick look at it. So this is titanium integral, single piece of titanium. It's all milled out. You've got a carbon fiber inlay that's done, M390 blade that's in a drop point, and this thing is absolutely beautiful. So satin grind on this, and it is reverse flick only. And of course, it is a frame lock. Now you can see, I did a short about this, and people are like, oh, well, why is the lock bar insert on the outside completely? Well, it's because it's an integral. It's a lot easier to do that because you don't have two pieces. You're trying to mill from the inside. Much more difficult to do that offset. So you've got a steel lock bar insert on the outside, and then you've got a spot here where you can open this up like a window to get down in. Now, I'll tell you a couple cool things about this. This is in some relatively thick blade stock, but it does a very, very good job transitioning down into a very nice thin behind the edge profile. It is not a real large knife. It's still coming in at about 7.5 inches overall. So, you know, you still got about a 3.5 inch blade on this. So not a lot of waste on this when you look at the amount of sharpened edge that you have versus an area here. So this aperture on this, because it is reverse flick only, is actually really cool. You can see that it's been milled out almost like in an infinity mirror. So you see all these terraced out areas, but there's not a flat spot in here. It is not at all sharp, so you don't have to worry about it being sharp for your reverse flick. But you can also, if you pinch break past the detent, you can slow roll that out. Lockup on this, beautiful. Right there, fairly early lockup, but not at all like early to the point where I would be afraid of lock slip. And the lockup on it is bank vault. This thing is so nicely done. Now, there are a couple things that you get from having an integral. One of the first things that I'll tell you is it is very nice to not need to worry at all about your pivot tightness. So you like how your blade sits. You're not going to have any off centering of this because it sits in between two pieces. This is a solid piece. You don't have to worry about, oh, I got to take these screws out to center it. Nope. It simply sits in there. The pocket is done. As long as the pockets are milled correctly, your knife will be centered every time. The action on this is really, really good. Just a shake shut home, which says a lot because it's a very light blade. That's not a real big blade. They removed a lot of material. I did resharpen this because I just didn't like the factory edge that was on it. It's not that it wasn't sharp. It just was, I thought it needed my edge on it because this is going to stay here. Pocket clip on this, in and out of pocket, brilliant. They did not have any issues. You can see in here, there's no issues with, getting on the lock bar with the pocket clip, even though it's close, because they milled that out in there and made it so that it doesn't at all touch. You've got that big gap. So it is really easy in and out of pocket. There is no catch or grab here. Pocket clip is nicely done. It is a beautiful pocket clip that is radius to follow the lines of the knife. So far, this is my first day in carry. So far, I sharpened this early this morning. I'm pretty pleased with how this is as a smaller knife. It is very comfortable in hand. And if you want to, you can get all the way up on this because this isn't wasted space like a lot of other knives. I've had a few knives recently that were like this, where you don't pretty much have a full finger choil in the blade, but this bolster area here and then the milled out allows you to use that just like a finger choil without really worrying about getting up on it too far and cutting yourself. So yeah, I'm really digging this knife. There are a couple little things about it that I'm not as big a fan of. We'll talk about those real quick right after you guys hear from this video sponsor. Guys, you've heard me talk about Coffee Brand Coffee a bunch of times. I'm going to do it again real quick. Coffee Brand Coffee is a channel sponsor. They are a great company sponsoring small channels like mine, but they also are a guilt-free purchase because they do not practice any politics. They have a money-back guarantee, and they roast their coffee on demand. So if you're interested in it, my link down below in the videos saves you 10% at checkout, sometimes more depending on what they've got going on as far as specials and sales. So go check them out. Great product. Thank you very much for sponsoring the channel, Coffee Brand Coffee. Let's get back to the knife. Now, I'll say the biggest thing about it is I'm not a fan of integrals. I think that they just add a little bit of additional cost and things like that. I'm just not a fan of them. I see that it's cool. On this one, not such a big deal. And I forgot to mention the thickness on this is a very comfortable hand-filling thickness. Now, the couple of negative things on this. The pocket clip, I would have been really happy if this pocket clip was tapered down from, say, here down and then, you know, sloped over to where it wasn't as abrupt. It kind of stands out in pocket. It's not hot at all, but I definitely am aware of it in my hand. Next thing, the jimping, I would have been a lot happier if the jimping had been a little bit more aggressive. It's not horrible. It's not the worst I've ever seen, but it is pretty slippery. And so I don't, you know, that's just one of those things that it wouldn't be something that I would really want to have. And then the last thing that I would say is that the way that, you know, this would have been really good with a flipper. A lot of people are not going to like this reverse flick only. I don't really have a problem with it. It's a fairly large aperture, but I think this knife just would have been a little bit better with a flipper tab. You could have done it. You could have put it in here. The mechanics of it really wouldn't have been a big deal. And then I don't know, this is the last one. I don't know how I feel about this inlay. I would like to have seen it without an inlay. I would like to have seen it all titanium, because the fact is you can't really screw it in from inside. There's just no way to do it. So your inlay is just kind of sitting there. I don't know how it's attached. I would imagine it's forced in there fairly well and then held in with some sort of pretty strong adhesive. I've had other knives like that. I would have much more preferred just a plain titanium version of this knife. Other than that, there's not really much negative to say about it. This is an amazingly good knife. And like I said, $192 with my discount code, coupon code, that is just unbelievably good for a full titanium M390 integral. So we're going to carry this for a while. I'm going to have this here. This is going to be mine. All the knives that were sent to me, this would wind up being my personal, because I'll keep it around for other reviews. So we'll see how I like this in the future. But yeah, guys, let's turn this around, do some final thoughts, and send you out about your day. So yeah, this thing at $192, it's under $200 for an M390 and titanium integral. I'm digging it, and it is a very good knife. I do see issues with integrals. They're overcomplicated. A lot of times they're too expensive, and they just add things to the knife industry that you really don't need. It's not as though the two-piece construction or even 3 or 4-piece construction poses an issue. It's actually a really good thing. It's easier to take apart. It's easier to maintain and things like that. You can take things apart, anodize them, and clean them. But as far as integrals go, this is a really nice one. So not going to make this take any longer. I'll make sure I've got a link to it down below so you can check it out. If you like the videos, give them a thumbs up. If you don't like them, give them a thumbs down, but tell me why. I can't change the content if you don't tell me what you don't like. I know I threw an ad in for one of my sponsors, but you can check out any of my sponsors. Coffee Brand Coffee and Tempered Trail have a discount built into their links. I also have a coupon code for Beyond EDC, their entire website, that will save you 40% at checkout. It's Crazy Sharp, all one word, all lowercase. That also works at Ferrum Forge Knife Works and Rosecraft Blades. Saves you 10% at those two. I've got links to most of your major vendors down below: Blade HQ, Knife Ship Free, GP Knives, and a lot of individual companies. Check those out if you're going to buy knives. I'd appreciate if you use those. Amazon store works the same way. Any of those, it doesn't cost you anything at checkout. It just supports the channel. So take that Amazon link, pin it to your browser, use it for any Amazon shopping you're gonna do. Take a look at the Discord down below, join the community. It's a public Discord, but if you wanna get into some more exclusive stuff, I have a private Discord that is part of my membership where I also do giveaways, I do exclusive content, and I have a premium tier sharpening tutorial series that I've done for them. Guys, that's it on this one. I love you all. Keep it clean in the comments section. If it's your birthday, happy birthday, and I'll see you in the next video.